I'm going to paint a Christmas tree with a Santa hat on it. That's pretty Christmassy. Just kind of gets to the point. I think I want to start off with a navy background, and I'm going to use a little bit of blue and a little bit of black and a little bit of silver, actually. I'm try to get it a kind of metallic-y navy. And I'm just going to quickly kind of get the background wet. And that way my paint will just glide right onto the background. I have a little bit too much water, but that's a really cool effect. It almost matches the tape. To be kind of dark, so I might need to go over this a little bit more. So the background is dry and I want to kind of chalk on the elements. So I want to start off with a little Santa hat. So I'm just going to kind of draw the shape of it. And just kind of make a little ball at the end. Then we want to kind of fill in where our tree is going to go. Chalk is erasable, so I'm not too terribly worried about the chalk marks. They'll get covered up with paint eventually. Make it whimsy. All right, I'm thinking maybe we'll make it a little starry night in the background. Go ahead and put a little area where the moon is going to go. Just to chalk on the elements, see if we like them. And maybe a little star here. A little star there. Alright, so it seems that we have all our elements chalked on, and now we can start filling in with paint. Okay, I have chalked on all the elements that I want to use. And now I just need to fill them in. So I have two small brushes I'm going to be doing that with. And I think we'll start off with the background, usually a good rule of thumb, background and foreground. So I'm going to touch into a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to start to kind of build up the stars and the moon. We might need a couple of layers for the moon, but for right now, we have one layer. And we'll just add a little bit of the star. And we'll build up those layers as well. I'm going to take a smaller brush and just kind of make some whimsical Van Gogh brush strokes. If you haven't noticed, this is going to be Van Gogh inspired. And I'm just wisping around the outer edge. I'm not going to worry about the chalk. I'll erase that later. Chalk just serves as a guide. And I'll go through another little layer with stars. Alright, we'll build up the wind, or the turbulence, or the swirls in the sky. One. I'm going to incorporate another light kind of color. I'm going to go with a minty green. Just kind of overlap. And we'll go back over with just a little bit more white. I might need to let this dry a little. Going to mix together a little bit of an orange, so I'm just going to take a little dab of red and add it to this yellow and white mix. A little bit more. Just to get it a little warmer. I don't need a lot, just a little. A little bit of glow in the stars. We can add a little bit to the moon area as well. I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow. Take that little scoop of yellow white and add a little bit more yellow to it. I want it to just be a little brighter than what I mixed. And go along the outside with the glow. And add a little bit more white. Probably should just let this dry for a little bit before I add any more. So I think the background with the stars, I need to rethink that. I might just put dots for stars. I'm going to go ahead and paint the Santa hat. So I'm going to just take a little scoop of white and then a little bit of red. And I'm going to paint the red base. I'm just going to let that sit so that it dries, and when I add another layer, the color will adhere a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and build up the tree. I'll use the big one. Okay, I want to make this a little bit bright green, but because we have a dark background, I want to add a little touch of white to this so it sticks. Well, it pops forward and is a really nice, pretty saturated color. I'm going to probably add other greens to this, but right now we just need a base green. And I'm kind of following my line, but I'm kind of creating this whimsy little brush stroke. So some of this color I think is going to soak into the background, which is why I added a little bit of white, but might have to add another layer. Okay, let's build up the tree's trunk. I'm going to just take a scoop of yellow, a little scoop of red, and I'm going to add a little green to that so that I can get a dark kind of brown. Add a little bit more of the yellow and a little bit more of the red. Really mix together. I should be able to get a chocolate brown. And I'm going to add a little touch of white. And give it some texture. I'm going to go back to some of my white and sort of overlap some of my stars. And we'll go back into the yellow and warm up the glow a bit. Okay, I think I'm going to add another layer of red. Should stick a little bit better with the second layer. Just going to fill it in. And I'll add a little highlight, so just a little touch of white. And we'll just add the highlight. And we'll go back in and add a little bit of a darker red. And maybe go back into the white to highlight. All right, we're gonna let that dry. I'm gonna go back to the tree now that it's a little drier. And we can go ahead and add some chunkier brush strokes with just a little bit of a darker green. Kind of creating just a little bit of a different color in some areas. I'm just trying to build up some more layers. Gonna add a little tiny bit of light to this. Another dimension and layer. I think the tree trunk got a little turned brown, so I'm going to just kind of go back over some of the lighter colors. I'll go over it with a lighter color. Bring it back in a bit. Maybe tone down some sections. All right, I've let it dry a little bit. I just didn't want to mix the colors too much, and I'm going to start to incorporate a little bit of white for the Santa hat. Then I'm just going to tap my brush. Make it a furry little hat. I'm kind of feeling I want the center of the stars to be sort of an orange color, so I'm going to just mix together a little orange color, and we'll just dot it in the middle. And I think I'm going to incorporate a little bit more of a darker blue into some of the wind or the turbulence. And I'm going to come back with a little bit of that blue and add some around my stars. And I almost feel like I want to do that with the moon area. Add a little bit more white. Oops, too much water. And probably add a little bit more for this as well. Alright, I think I'm going to make kind of a dark blue, but it's a little lighter than this. So I might need a little bit of black. Take a big old scoop of blue. Maybe 2 scoops of blue, a little dab of black, and a little touch of white. This is about the color I've made. I'm just going to use this to fill in some of the background. And I think I'm just going to tone down a little bit more in this wind turbulence, or well, we'll just call it wind. Alright, it is a little bit drier down below, so I'm going to start using a little bit of white and just kind of create some textured snow. Alright, I think we need some ornaments. So I'm going to make a little bit of a lighter red so that the red doesn't soak too much into the green. And I will probably go back over it with a little bit of highlight and shadow. But we're just going to go ahead and start to create little red ornaments. And maybe we can create some little yellow ornaments. Mix a lighter yellow first. I'm just going to go back into my moon, do another little coat. Alright, I did let the paint dry a little bit, just so that the other paint will stick to it. I'm going to go back in with just red and add a nice brighter red. This time it'll stick a little bit easier. I'm going to add a little bit of a darker red to the bottom. Give it a little tiny bit of a shadow. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of a highlight to the top. Oops. And I'm going to go back in with just a little of a brighter yellow. Alright, I think I'm just going to add a little white line for the highlight and not really worry about the shadow for the yellow one. Alright, I'm feeling like it's done. And I think we could probably peel back the tape. Okay, it looks like it bled a little, so I'm going to just touch up a couple little areas. And maybe just a couple of the areas along the side. And there's the final product. Fun, whimsical Christmas tree, Van Gogh style. Hopefully you'll paint this and keep it in your family decorations. And if you had a good time, please give it a like, a share, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you had a really good time and you want to support this channel, there's a link below. Buy me a cup of coffee. I greatly appreciate it. Anyway, you guys, thanks for stopping by. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And see you in the next one.